So our first sewing direction talks about sewing our patch pockets, which is a separate video. So I'm not going to actually go into much detail there, but the directions do say to sew the patch pocket and to center them on your bag and to sew them on using an edge stitch. Again, this is all explained in a separate video. So I'm going to begin with the actual construction of the bag, step 4. It says to place the two pieces of the bag together. It says the two outer pieces. You can decide which that is since it is a reversible bag. I'm just going to start with this light pink fabric with the bows on it. And I'm going to put them right sides together, meaning it will look inside out. It says to use a 5/8 inch seam allowance and to pin it together and then stitch it together. So first I'll show the pinning. I'm going to place my one side of my bag down, and some of you might be wondering why I have mine kind of going long ways. It's a little wider than it is tall. That's just a personal preference. I decided to do it that way. You can do it either way, vertical or kind of landscape. So if you look at the diagram, it shows to stitch along here, leave the corner open, the bottom and the top. You should have little 1-inch squares kind of cut out of your bottom as you see here. So I'm going to start, I always start by lining up my fabric, and I'm going to pin the corners perfectly even. I poke down my pin a little bit and then angle upward, and it's perpendicular to the edge. That makes it easier when it comes time to sew. And I'm just going to, from there, come all the way to the bottom and pin this corner right before that notched out corner marking, like that. And then once I've done my two ends, I come to the middle and pin that. And then I can do the middle of the middle and the middle of the middle. About 5 pins looks good. Then moving over to the other side, I can do the same thing. And then after I've done the top in that same manner, making sure it's perfectly even, then you can do the bottom in the same way. So wherever you pin is where you're going to sew. The pinning is the temporary hold until we sew. So we're not going to sew the top close because then we wouldn't have a bag, and we're not pinning there, so that makes sense. Okay, and now the bottom. Same thing, right along the edge, always the ends first and then the middle. Okay, so once you have pinned it, you are ready to sew. And if you're like me, I like to get my pinning out of the way. You can go ahead and start pinning your other color together just to get all one step done. You'll see I have embroidered actually this is for my niece. So I'm gonna put that on the inside because inside out, and line up those open corners. And I'm going to pin this one too, just to get it out of the way. Might as well.